Okay, here we go. There is ET-94. Still impressed me how massive it is. Look at this. Just keeps going and going and going. They added the nose cone, which they'd taken off for refurbishment. That is where all the external tank elements connected to. You can see here on this diagram. So they still haven't added the external hose, cable trays and such, as you can see from up there, but it's just massive. So I'm about to begin my tours, but I just want to share this with everybody because I'm still in awe at the size of this thing. And this was just the fuel tank. Can you imagine? So up here, this is the liquid oxygen portion. Just this right here, this front section. And where you see this light tan section to the other light tan section, that's called the inner tank. That's where the liquid oxygen tank finishes, and then this bottom section's all liquid hydrogen. Fun fact, the liquid oxygen tank, this front section, weighed considerably more than this bottom section, the liquid hydrogen, because hydrogen is lighter than air. So even at minus 427 degrees, this still weighed a lot less than the liquid oxygen, which was 297 degrees. The whole thing holding it together was called the inner tank, which is this section. If you see that bolt up there, that bolt held the entire thrust for the one solid rocket booster on that side. There's one on the other side as well. So those solid rocket boosters produced 2.7 million pounds of thrust, and it was each of them, and it was all held by that one bolt. So there's a huge aluminum spar that runs through this inner tank, and that took the entire thrust load of 2.7 million pounds. I mean, look at how close I am to the inner tank. This is really impressive. Okay. All right, so now this portion here, this is the liquid hydrogen tank. I mean, look, I'm just walking and walking. And they did a wonderful job on restoring it. So this foam was actually sprayed on, and the first two tanks were painted white, but that added 600 pounds of weight, so it wasn't used after the first two launches. Then this foam was sprayed on. Its natural color is this orange. Now, this tank has been painted because it would actually be like getting a sunburn. So the longer the tanks were out in exposed to the sunlight, the color would lighten up. So that's why you see the external tanks changing colors. So if you can see here, the bottom section, that naked metal part, that's where the solid rocket boosters attach on the bottom section. Now, interesting fact about that, I said up here in the forward section, those took the entire thrust from the solid rocket boosters. These back sections over here, these were just for stabilization. So the two mounting points there, and there's another one up there, those are just for the those are just for the mounting connection. Now, during the Challenger disaster, that right here is where the solid rocket booster, the flame actually impinged and burned through one of these attach points, and it broke loose, and the solid rocket booster broke from up here, swung out, the bottom of it swung, and it smacked into the center tank. And it's rather ironic that I'm looking at this thing thinking, gosh, it's the size of a blimp, and what do we have here? The Goodyear blimp. That's kind of awesome. So it's kind of a crazy day down here with the USC game. but it's still worth it for me to come out here and to be around the hardware again. Now, here you can see there's missing pieces of foam. This was done since this is the sister tank to Columbia's tank that shed the foam. They used these foam sections to test the foam to find out if there was a better way to attach it. So I'm gonna get real close. You see here, that is the foam. Underneath this is metal. The metal was on the other side of it is minus 427 degrees. This little thin layer of foam had the responsibility of keeping the temperatures cool on the other side of this metal structure to minus 427 degrees. And right here, right below here, you've got rocket thrust coming out at 6,000 degrees. So that little piece of foam right here was required to protect the interior to keep it cold and stop it from burning up from the rocket thrust. So I'm still blown away by the engineering that was required to build this thing, and I'm just honored that I had the chance to work on it. So go science.